Major great developments tonight on your second stimulus check and second stimulus package as senators, House members, Republicans, and Democrats all come out in favor of the stimulus check and say they're not voting for this darn stupid thing that people came on writing on the back of a napkin unless it has a stimulus check in there. It's as simple as that. The vocalization of support for a stimulus check tonight is louder than it was even an hour or two before this taping. I have all the breaking details for you tonight. It's all really exciting. In the meantime, will this get delayed 7 days? I have those details as well. What's going on for $2,400 of SSI and SSDI? Will you get FPC? Under the CR will be retroactive. What's going on with the amount of the stimulus check? And why is everyone ignoring that SBA money? Then, big grants, stimulus checks, free stimulus rent, and free stimulus utilities coming out across the board. It's just also shocking. It's from states that said they had the money, suddenly they have a lot of money and they're giving it to you. And there's incredible great progress for things across the board in a day in which, well, you know what, one senator out of Louisiana wanted to tell you that, it's his way or the highway. At this point, Purple Power, we're on auto drive. We're pushing to the end, and this is Evenings at LALATE. Good evening, everybody. It's Evenings at LALATE in a really exciting, great night in which all these people came forward and said, you know what, I'm not voting for this junk thing, whatever it is junk, unless there's a stimulus check in there. That's not the only problem they're having with the junk, is the liability provision that Mitch McConnell wants in there. They're saying there's no way in hell that I'm voting for that darn thing if that thing's in there as well. Shutdown of the federal government on December 11th, or shutdown of the federal government on December 18th. What's going to happen? Please subscribe, because no one's breaking this down with the simplest clarity possible than me. And I'm working around the clock, more importantly, to get you money right now. Not 5 days from now, not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now, but money right now. As more states, cities, counties across the country, and now private organizations are stepping forward and saying, here is some state stimulus checks. Here's some state rent stimulus. Here's some state utility stimulus. And I have no less than 10 volunteers, 9 for CARES Act 1 for EIDL, who are stepping forward to ensure that you are not homeless. They're fighting around the clock to get you this money and are keeping 30-something people a day from homelessness. As Congress as much as nothing, but the community of this channel is all helping one another, with viewers saying, hey, tell other viewers about this grant program or the stimulus thing I got. I want them to get it as well. That's the spirit of this channel. So please go to the Phones channel and subscribe where it says subscribe. Also hit the bell. There's a little bell there. That's the alert button. So you get alert when I go live, when I go tape, and when a new video comes out. Also like this video. It really helps in the algorithm rankings. In tonight's video, I'm going to go over why you listen to me and not to broadcast news. Because a very bad senator out of Louisiana named Cassidy tried to overtake all the oxygen on broadcast news and make you think that his situation or his arguments or his position was the only situation occurring in Washington today. And some viewers were actually falling for it until this. All the rest of the senators came forward and said, zip it, zip it. In fact, one senator came forward and said, you're not even quoting the situation correctly when you're referring to the President of the United States. Imagine misconstruing the words of the President himself, the senator. I have all those details and more. But the incredible details across the board is that there is a lot of money and it's heading your way, and we're going to get to the finish line. And this is the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here tonight is that there's two real things at play for tonight for the CR, the Congressional Budget Bill, that has stimulus in it. The first issue that is new tonight is one, will there be a bill? There is still no bill. They can't even get a bill written. 2, will they extend this for a week to vote on it a week from now? And 3, what's happening tonight with the stimulus check? Let's start with the stimulus check, shall we? This is the most important thing, of course. Tonight, Republicans and Democrats, House and Senate, are coming out and saying, I'm not voting for this darn thing whenever it becomes a bill, even though it's still not a bill. I'm not voting for it unless there's a stimulus check in there. I want to make that very clear. And I'm also making clear that in all my caucuses and all my sections of my political party are going to do the same thing. We're not voting for it unless there's a stimulus check. To make it even clearer, they're saying what you're trying to do in the CR is give another bailout to big businesses. It's incredible, great news. And the comments that are coming out tonight are just all over the place. Earlier today, Senator Josh Hawley, who is a Republican out of Missouri, which I've been detailing on the last 24 hours on the table, on the channel, it has been really talking about the importance of a stimulus check. It's vital that any relief include direct payments, another word for stimulus check, and I'm not going to vote for it if it doesn't. As simple as that. I'm also urging the President of the United States to veto any bill that doesn't have a stimulus check in it. But it doesn't end there. He actually spoke to the president about the situation. I've had a good conversation with him about it, the President of the United States, says Hawley. And you know what? A pretty thorough conversation. The president asked a number of questions about the state of play of the different proposals, and I think it's fair to say he was surprised at the direction that some of these were heading. Who do you think he's referring to? What's important to understand is that Mitch McConnell went to speak to the President of the United States with a $500 billion offer, and the president said, yeah, I'll support you, Mitch. You have my agreement. You have my support. Mitch came back and said, I have the support of the president, and I was not going to start unless I had the support of the president. That was last Wednesday. By Friday, the problem creators, Tom and Jerry, went on broadcast news and said, the president support us. No, he doesn't. He specifically went out that day and he said he does not support you. Well, guess what happened today? Another one of the so-called problem creators, Senator Cassidy out of Louisiana, again pushed that fake narrative. He said the president supports $900 billion. No, he doesn't. He supports Mitch McConnell's bill. I don't know why people think they can just flat out lie to fellow members of the Congress that they work with, and then think that lie is going to work. Now, throughout the day, we heard one man, that man, Cassidy, appear on Fox, and then appear on another channel, then appear on another channel, keep on appearing today and yesterday and the day before, saying, this is what's going on in Congress, this is what's going on with the president. It was just him. No one else was saying his position except him. In fact, we now know that over the weekend, they couldn't even agree upon what the bill or the drafting the bill because of Mitch McConnell's liability provision. Mitch McConnell has a liability provision in there that says you can't sue a business if if you get COVID unless they basically deliberately cause you to have COVID. And so no one likes that provision. And then they try to revise it as being something like 6 months you can't sue them. And then they're like, no, we're not going to have it ever in this position. So they can't even get it reduced to a bill. They worked over the weekend, we now know, about trying to write something. They can't even write a bill. But tonight, the situation's very clear. And tonight we have people like Bernie Sanders' camp that said getting the $1,200 stimulus check to workers during this unprecedented time should be a slam dunk. Senator Hawley seems to understand that, and Senator Sanders will talk to anyone to get this done. Senator Warren said direct checks are an excellent way to get money in the hands of people who desperately need it. And then Senator Rashiba Tlaib, Democrat of Michigan, said she would not support a bill unless there's a stimulus check in there. Elizabeth Warren said she would not support unless there's a stimulus check in there. And the list could keep on going on and on and on. I could keep on going, Republican, Democrats, all this list. All these people came out and said, we're not supporting this, there's a stimulus check in there. What's the big problem? The big problem is there's someone trying to pull a fast one. And the person trying to pull a fast one are the problem creators, Tom and Jerry, and now this guy, Cassidy, out of Louisiana. Cassidy out of Louisiana's claim today was that, I'm not opposed to a stimulus check. It's just we put a cap of $900 billion on this bill. I don't know who did. And that if you want to do a stimulus check, it costs $300 billion, so we would go over $900 billion. Well, that doesn't work for about 5,000 reasons. Let me destroy that statement in a few steps, one by one. First, stop giving money to the airlines. 2, stop giving money to the restaurants. 3, stop giving money to transportation and people that already got 4 or 5 bailouts. Millions of Americans barely even got a first stimulus check. That just freed up a lot of money. Okay, let's say you want to still give all those people the money. Give all those airlines their money again. Then what? $600 billion of free CARES Act 1 money sitting around at SBA. Free money when you only need $300 billion of it as a stimulus check. So you know what? You could actually send us 2 stimulus checks because there's enough of money of it at SBA. So when you like $900 billion, you can have your $900 billion. Just use the SBA money and repurpose it. It costs $0 to send out 2 stimulus checks. And you don't even want to send out 1 stimulus check with it. Also, another way to clear up the money, don't do the FPUC for 3 weeks, which everyone believes at this point is a game, is a scheme to not do the FPUC retroactive in January, because millions of Americans are owed 20 weeks of FPUC. And so they're like, I'll take care of your FPUC for 3 weeks. No, just take care of my 20 weeks of FPUC in January. Stop giving me little pieces of FPUC right now. You can take care of in January. Take that out, and that frees up the money for the stimulus check. There's so many reasons that are very clear mathematically why a stimulus check can be done and are not being done. Also unclear is why is this Louisiana senator saying that this is a relief bill, not a stimulus bill. Okay, so is evicting someone on January 1st and throwing them on the street in the thick of winter, in the thick of wind, in the thick of the snow, relief? Who's that relief for? The property owner? Is that who that relief is for? How about foreclosing on someone's house on January 1st? Who's that relief for? For the bank that really wants relief to get rid of that house, wants to take that house and sell and make a nice profit. Who's that relief for? Millions of Americans don't understand why there's no mortgage forbearance and eviction moratorium in this. And Joe Biden said the same thing on last Friday. Why is it not in there? It doesn't cost anything. Remember, you don't want to spend $900 billion or more. It doesn't cost you anything, so why is it not in there? It's becoming very clear that the reason why Cassidy and a few others don't want to send you, but don't want to put a stimulus check in here, is because they don't want you to have a stimulus check. Ever. And they're making every excuse about it by giving a lot of money to their cushy friends. Whether it's the problem solvers out of New York and New Jersey that want to ensure the big businesses out of New York and New Jersey get big bailouts before millions of Americans get stimulus checks, or whether it's the other people simply say, you know what, there's no money left. Yeah, there is. Should I run the Larry Kudlow tape from CNBC on Squawk Box on last Friday, where he actually slammed the fellow GOP leadership and said, why aren't you repurposing the CARES Act 1 money at SBA? There's $600 billion of it. Every time I bring that up, they tell me to shush. Well, we're not shushing. We're not shushing on this one. So what could happen next? Mitch McConnell tonight actually said that he would support an extension of the 1 week to get this done. This is not good news, because an extension of a week for 1 week to get this done is not just 7 days. It's not just the fact that you have to wait 7 days. It's the fact that 7 days means instead of December 11th plus 10 days, it would be December 18th plus 10 days. And you know what that means. The stimulus check would come after Christmas. Millions of Americans would love to have that check before Christmas. And so now they're talking about extending it so there would be no way to get the stimulus check before Christmas. Not a good thing. The next thing is that Hawley and a lot of others are saying, you know what? There is no bill. If there is a bill, we're going to not vote for it. And if it is passed, we're going to urge the president to veto it. And Mitch McConnell has said that before. So do I think there's going to be a shutdown or a vote? At this point, I think it's better to have a shutdown, have no extension of the federal. I think it's better to have a shutdown December 11th and to have no movement towards that horrible $900 billion awful thing written by Manchin and Romney than to get things just continued and continued. Get it done and get it done right, or otherwise shut everything down. In the past, when you shut down the federal government, it wakes people up. It actually wakes people up because suddenly that's front page news. Let me explain what December 12th would look like in America. December 12th, you would turn on your morning news show and the number one story is the federal government's closed. Why is the federal government closed? Because they couldn't agree upon sending out a stimulus check. What do you mean? 85% of Americans polled think that they should get a stimulus check. Most representatives in Congress think you should get a stimulus check. So why didn't they just put a darn stimulus check in there and said they shut down the federal government? It's that type of confusion that's really sticking the point at tonight. So if millions of Americans wondering if this is going to have a stimulus check in it, the next question is, will there be multiple stimulus checks in January? Yes, is Joe Biden. He wants to ensure that you get a stimulus check in January and several thereafter. Multiple stimulus checks, hazard pay, $2,400 SSI and SSDI are among the things that will be coming in January from Joe Biden, plus a 20% step up and an increase of your benefits annually based upon a new benchmark. But he's not done there. He wants to also give another round of EIDL grants, CDC grants, hazard pay grants, rent grants, food grants, and more. But the great news as we sit here tonight is that cities and states and counties across the country are doing that right now. States are sending out $1,200 stimulus checks. States are sending out $375 stimulus checks. And in some cases, they're announcing free stimulus checks in counties like Orange County in Florida. Yes. Cities across the country that never would have had a free stimulus rent program are suddenly having one. Nashville, Tennessee announcing one today. Then Georgia, several counties, DeKalb, Gwinnett, and city of Atlanta. Then in Houston, and then over in New York. The whole state of New York? Yes, the whole state of New York, the city of New York, are among those along with San Diego County that suddenly are doing rent grant programs. It's important to understand that if you looked just 2 days ago and couldn't find it, it wasn't there then. It may be there now. And we're not done with that. Then private organizations, religious organizations that are national, that are very well regarded, are coming forward and also sending out stimulus relief as well. If you need a state stimulus check, a state stimulus rent, or a state stimulus utilities, start looking. And ultimately, your focus should be the following: to get it all. Do not sit back and hope that there's only a stimulus check and nothing else, because ultimately the stimulus rent is the big cat's meow. $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in your bank account. This is money you really quite need, and so could be the make or make. Then do escalate benefits for unemployment assistance, as I cover in this channel, by raising your weekly benefits. Do an EIDL if you qualify for that as well. And if you have any questions about any of these things, join me on Purple Power Live, which is right after this recording. And also go to the community page, newly launched today at news.lalate.com/community. That's news.lalate.com/community, where you can interact with upwards of 8 to 9 volunteers who will help you find the CARES Act 1 grants and can also help you with your EIDL. If you have questions or comments in today's video, drop them in the comments below. I might feature them in tomorrow's recording. Join me on Purple Power Live next, and then also join me tomorrow morning on Early Mornings LA. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay in LA for more.